the end, or is it a new beginning? That.
We are off. Let's go. Episode number 11, crept up on you. Oli Tennant.
Yes, sir.
Is in. Excitable. Question 1. Are Castleford going to win anything?
Not in my lifetime.
How's that make you feel?
It depends what you mean by anything, because they've technically already won the League Leaders' Shield for being the most consistent team in the league. And I will bring to your attention, which is going to land on my face very quickly. I think they beat Leeds 5-6 times that season. And then we all know how it ended. Not very well. So, yes, they have won something in my lifetime, but the Grand Final, Challenge Cup, I don't know.
We don't know. This is not a rugby league podcast. This is and fitness, lifestyle sounds too broad, but fitness, bit of mindset, bit of little business and how you view things in the world. So I've been done a few episodes. This is number 11. And I was thinking, who else could I have on? And I've tried to avoid the lockdown and the COVID situations, but I was thinking, who could I have on and why would I have them on? When we was at Pure Gym, and I'll let Oli give himself a little intro about what he's up to at the moment. When we were at Pure Gym, we read a book called Who Moved My Cheese? And we'll go into what that's all about later. But first of all, let's introduce Oli Tennant, all the way from... Where are you now? You still live in Castleford?
No. God, no, I escaped there a long time ago. No, Wakefield. Renford.
Oh, big difference.
Big difference. I've branched out to the city.
Right. Oli, who the hell are you?
Who the hell am I? I'm Oli Tennant. You already know that. Ross has introduced me about 3 or 4 times. So what? Me and Ross go way back now. Virgin Active almost 6 years ago now. 6 years, yeah. So I was a personal trainer for 6.5 years. That's how I know Ross through Virgin Active. And then we rekindled at Pure Gym in Leeds. And then since then, I've moved on from coaching clients as a personal trainer. And now I coach personal trainers on their business so they can grow their business both in the gym and ultimately online as well.
Ultimately online as well. When you started at Pure, because we were at Virgin, and the name of the game at Virgin was obviously PT's generally about doing as many as you can.
Yeah.
And we were in the mindset because when you were at Virgin, you were an employee of Virgin. We were get up to there and you're in the top bracket. Yeah. You had to do 25 sessions a week to be in that top bracket. And that's what we were like, hard and fast. That's what you need to do. Always get more. Replace what you're losing. We were beavers, essentially, trying to get as much as we could. When you walked into Pure Gym, and I didn't ask you about this question, the mindset seemed completely different for the trainers. Did you feel that? When I started in there, it felt different, that people weren't quite as keen. Some people were, and some people were doing very well, but generally there wasn't a target, an end goal. They were enjoying training people, but it was kind of an enjoyable, more of a fun job than an actual, right, we're doing as much.
Yeah, more for some people, a hobby, so to speak. And I don't want to speak for them, but in terms of when you compare Virgin Active's model and the personal trainers that worked at Virgin, I'm not saying they were better personal trainers, but they had that incentive. Whereas when you're at Pure Gym, you're solely a self-employed personal trainer, and it's ultimately on you. If you're getting by and you're surviving, then that's fine. There's not that pressure, so to speak. Whereas at Virgin, as we remember it, it was if you don't hit the number, like 100 hours in a month, you hit 99 hours in a month rather than 100, you could lose 600-700 quid. Yeah. And it's crazy. Whereas at Pure Gym with PT self-employed, if you do 99 hours or 100 hours, it's one session difference, not such a dramatic. Yeah. Whereas I think at Pure Gym, it's for you. You've got to be very self-driven. There's not someone there to, are you doing this? Are you doing that? How's your business going? What's going on there? Yeah. That's what I noticed.
Yeah, it was It was funny, yeah. I mean, I think hobby's too strong a word, but there were some people who were certainly in cruise control, and I found it quite strange initially. Anyway, That's not the point. That's not the point. The point of today, the title of today is Who Moved My Cheese? So it's a book. You've got your copy out. I got the digital copy, so I can't show you a copy. You can show us the copy.
There you go.
There she is.
Cheese by Dr Spenser Johnson. If you haven't read this, I strongly recommend it, and I even recommend it to people that even like reading because it's such a small, straight to the point book.
Yeah. Do you want to give people a general synopsis of what it's, or what you interpreted it about?
Yeah, so I originally got the book having had a good conversation with one of my clients at the time, who's now a very good friend. And I was going through change in my life, and when change comes, I think everyone always questions, oh, should I not? What should I do? I like where I'm at, and do I need to take that step? And she said, tell you what, just read this book, because Who Moved My Cheese is just a great story about how there's no right or wrong answer to deal with change. There's no right or wrong answer to deal with anything. And there's 4 characters in the book who deal with change in very different ways. And I think it's almost like 4 books in one, because how I interpreted it, I related very strongly to a certain character, whereas maybe you read it and related to a different character. But what I get from this book, I do keep going back to it every now and then, is I'm a different character in different areas of my life. So it's just about how to adapt to change at work, how to adapt to change in your personal life with everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, so basically the breakdown of the book is there's characters, and it's very simple. It's not like Lord of the Rings or anything like that. There's 2 characters who like eating cheese. They live in a maze, and they find some good cheese, and they just stay there. They get stuck into the cheese, love it, love it, love it. And then all of a sudden, that supply of cheese dries up for no obvious reason.
Yeah.
And then it's all about their attitudes to going and finding more cheese and getting on.
Just as a heads up, probably to the people watching this, cheese is, we're not just talking about cheese. Cheese is just a metaphor for what you want in life.
The whole book is absolutely a metaphor for absolutely anything you want. So the author uses cheese.
Yeah.
But again, that could be points in rugby league. That could be clients. That could be gains in the gym. That could be, give me something.
Buying a house, going on holiday, starting a relationship.
Correct. So there's someone who gets, I can't remember the names. It's hem and haw, isn't it? But I can't remember which one.
Hem and haw are the people, and then the sniff and scurry, which are mice.
Yeah. So the mice in this story have got no brain.
Yeah. They're saying the humans are more intelligent compared to the mice.
Yeah, but the mice just do it, and they just go looking for cheese and just sniff around and scurry. And my interpretation of that was there was no fear.
Yeah.
There was no apprehension about what people think and thought, and they just went for the cheese. Let's go for the cheese. There's no stopping us. We're off.
Yeah.
Is that what you thought of the mice?
Oh, yeah, I got that too. And I think, again, when I refer back to what I said previously, in the sense of it applies to different areas, like I might be haw in my business, I might be hem in my personal life, I might be scurry in my relationships or whatever. And I think the important thing with the mice, what it represented was, sometimes you just got to keep it simple. And sometimes you do just have to go for it. But then on the flip, this is where I think the human brain comes in, and we start to think about things, overthink things. It's like, well, if I go for too much cheese, is it on a mousetrap? Don't know.
Yeah. And so basically the supply of cheese disappears, and one of the humans is really upset.
Hem throws his toys out the front. Yeah.
Can't deal with it. Keeps going back to where the cheese was. Keeps trying to get the cheese from the old way. potentially might be a way of describing it. They've had a success and they've gone to keep it and try, and he can't move on from that. Now, that's kind of the reason why I wanted to do this podcast in lockdown, in COVID, in gyms shut, is that, right, the cheese is gone. We can't train people face to face. Or, I mean, I appreciate you're doing different things.
Yeah, of course.
But I appreciate the people who you train.
Coach, yeah.
They can't train people face to face now. So obviously everyone's had to take a step back and think, right, this cheese is gone. Face to face gym cheese is gone, for whether that's another 2 months, whether that's for another 6 months. What we're going to do about it?
I think a big thing with that is we all know as people that change happens in every area of our life. But I think it's being able to deal with that change when it comes and not accepting that this is life forever. I will see my clients forever. It's like, well, hang on. This thing that's happening in the world right now, this situation that we find ourselves in, has thrown a curveball at your face, and it isn't the end of the world. Depending on how you look at it, what are you a personal trainer for example, in that sense, to help people? Well, can you still help people right now? The answer to that question is yes, you can. You can't help them in the way that you've always known. So are you willing to adapt?
It's either adapt or go work in Tesco's.
Yeah, which then if you're adapting anyway, you have to adapt and go the other way.
Potentially, and we try and fill our time in through doing podcasts to try and get out a different way, online solutions, outdoor solutions. Like, I know all your business is like online clients and coaches. Training people outdoors. Sometimes it's the best session in the world when it's nice weather, blue skies, sunshine. They have a great session. They're out and about, great. When it's grey, there's a bit of rain in the air, that wind's whistling through your fleece. Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah. But going on that of what you've just said there is, look at, I don't want to sound cliche or anything like that, but look at what you've just said. You've got the summer when it's wonderful and all PTs, let's train outside, it's wonderful. And then it's winter, it's like, let's not train outside, it's cold, it's freezing. Horrible. And seasons change every year. Yeah. Go from winter to spring to summer to autumn. Yeah. And I got this from Tony Robbins in the sense of some people in winter don't leave the house because it's that cold. It's freezing. Other people in winter go snowboarding.
It's a good point. You can't go snowboarding in Wake in Dewsbury, though, can you?
Well, no, you can't.
I get the point.
Last week. You could last week.
Yeah. Did any of your contacts, did you see him on Instagram doing like snowboarding down small hills?
No, I didn't see that, no.
I had a couple. I had a client who went snowboarding in kids in bed. I'm going to get my snowboard out and walk up a hill in the middle of Horsforth. He didn't even go to a field.
Oh yeah, it had to be a bloke as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was down the down the town street. So we recommend everyone go and read Who Moved My Cheese. Yeah,
and I don't think just for now, but I think it's a book you will keep for life. And I call it a timeless book, because no matter if you're going through change right now with what's going on in the world, or change 5 years down the line, you'll always get something relevant from it. So I'm glad, because it's had a massive impact on my life, because I was happy with the cheese I had. And I was like, well, this is good, and this is what I've known for 6.5 years. But that next step is, do I do it? And it's like, well, if you keep eating cheddar, you won't be able to enjoy the camembert. There you go. Full of metaphor. Yeah.
I mean, I like the cheese metaphor, but cheese gives me nightmares. Can't sleep if I have cheese.
Well, mate, it gets your imagination going.
The old imagination. I'm not sure. Well, I know what you mean. Right, here we go. So, Who Moved My Cheese? Definite read. It's under a tenner. Delivered. Yeah, it is.
I can imagine it would be. I can't.
It's less than a tenner. It's less than a tenner. It's less than 20 minutes PTing. Good investment, sound investment. Any other books that spring to the tip of your tongue?
I would recommend this, to be honest, actually, for if we're talking to personal trainers, to give to the clients as well. But I'd also recommend it people to give it to their boyfriends, their girlfriends, their husbands, their partners, their sons, their daughters. It's not a book. It's not a fitness book. It's a book
absolutely
everyone in any area of your life. In terms of other books that I'd recommend, I am massive. One of the best books I've ever read is The Miracle Morning. How you start your day. Absolute game changer. Very simple, straightforward, gives you strategies, gives you tactics, gives you challenges to focus on and do, and how you actually start your morning to set yourself up for success in the day. Probably the best book I've ever read would be Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within.
It's long.
It's a long book. It's a long
old book.
Break it down. Break it down into little steps, into little 5 pages. 10 pages at a time, chapter at a time if you're feeling on it. But it's once you take out the nuggets in it, but actually apply it, because the amount of people that I know that read books and then don't do anything with it. And it's like, well, why did you read a book?
Yeah.
It's the application that matters. Oh, mate, there could be loads.
You're looking at your bookshelf right now. Looking through your imagination.
The obvious one, Atomic Habits. I know that's a big book, but it's brilliant.
It's a big book in terms of its scope or its size?
Both. I know a lot of people have read Atomic Habits, and there's a reason. Because it just helps you look at little things that you can do to make the things that you want to do easier to do, so to speak.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, The Giant Within, I found a little bit like the general vibe of the book and idea of the book is fantastic, and I love all that stuff. Being a coach in the fitness realm, absolutely great. Did find it cheesy at times and quite American. And
don't forget it is an American book.
It's a very American book. But when you say American, that anyone can do anything. And is it the start where it's, I'm sat in my helicopter and I'm flying over a traffic jam, and the traffic jam is people
something like that.
Coming to my event, and they all want to come and meet me, and like, this is amazing because I used to mop floors and stuff like that. It's
everyone's got a story.
Everyone's got a story, yeah. But I think, like you say, there's a lot of nuggets in there to drag out and take.
100%. But again, that's the thing. What people will get from Who Moved My Cheese might be a nugget that I didn't get, and that's why I keep referring back to them. You've got them on your shelf; they're there. But I would always say, I say to all my friends, to my family, to the clients that I work with, if you're going to read a book, ask yourself 3 questions at the end of it. What did I learn? How can I implement it? When will I implement it? And if you can do that at the end of 2 pages or a chapter, it'll actually give you some tasks to crack on with, rather than overloading with information, which I don't think we need to do. I don't think we need to overload information. I think we need to get better at applying the information we already have.
Yeah.
So that's what books would you recommend?
Oh, for in this business mindset type scenario.
Dealing with change, dealing with now, dealing with
the one that comes to my tongue is the follow-up to Who Moved My Cheese, which is Peaks and Valleys.
You did tell me about that.
So Peaks and Valleys is about a young man who basically has to climb a mountain, and he wants to get up to the top of a mountain. And again, the mountain is the metaphor for whatever you want, whether that's a relationship, whether that's your business, whether that is you want a new car. Whenever you can see the peak, and everyone can see the peak, whether that's looking at Joe Wicks as the peak of the personal trainers, or whether that's looking at a Lamborghini or a 5-bedroomed house. Everyone can see the peak, and it's easy to see those peaks. And I think that's, on a tangent, that's like a mental health thing, that everyone sees all these peaks and they don't know how to get there. And the journey takes you through getting to the top of the peak. Like, he has to cross a river, he can't swim, so he has to get across this river, and he finds a way and keeps going, and then he finds a valley at the peak that he couldn't see at the back, which again is a metaphor for all sorts of businesses things. When you say, right, I'm going to be a personal trainer, And then you walk and do your first day in the gym and you're like, how do I turn those people on cross trainers into clients?
Oh, yeah.
That's a big valley because everyone sees the peak of amazing results and da-da-da. So down into the valley, then back up the other side through the forest, get to the peak. And then he gets to the peak about halfway through the book and he meets an old wise man on the top of the peak and he starts talking and he said, an old wise man goes, look at that. And he looks around and it's another peak.
Yeah.
And he has to get back up to that peak. And it's about his journey through the peaks, through the troughs, over the rivers, through the dark forests. But again, it can be just as easy. It's very similar to Who Moved My Cheese, just in another way of looking at it.
Yeah. I think what you've said there is quite interesting, actually, with the peaks and stuff, because I think what we as people always see, we'll see the peaks that are in front of us, at the side of us, even maybe behind us. But again, mindful of being too cheesy here. Mind the pun with the podcast. People forget what peak they're already standing on. They can't see the peak. I can see Ross's peak because I'm looking from a distance at Ross's peak. And then he might be looking at my peak. And I'm like, well, I'm not on a peak. I can only see the dirt underneath my feet. I can't see how much of a peak I'm stood on. So I think whilst chasing peaks, absolutely great, go for it, smash it, go until your heart's content. Don't forget to be grateful for the peak you've already built and you've already climbed and conquered.
I like that. Yeah, I think people do get frustrated with their own situation, and the word we're looking for is gratitude.
Oh, mate, that's one of the things that's changed my life. Gratitude. Being grateful for where I am, grateful for what I've got, grateful for who I've got, grateful for the fact, my God, could you imagine if we went through this lockdown situation 50 years ago, before the internet? Like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It'd be insane.
5 years ago, mate.
Yeah, it's crackers. So because of these lockdowns, I don't want to say something that's going to upset anyone here, but there's a lot of good that has come from these lockdowns. There's a lot in these lockdowns we can be grateful for. I've got a lot of, maybe you work with people, I don't know, you have to tell me, but who've got kids. They're spending more time with the children that they've never had before.
Yeah. Spending
more time with the partner. Yes, I get it. You want to be at work and you want to conquer that peak. But what about the peak at home? What about the peak with your family?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think there's a lot. This book, and I think the peaks and troughs and valleys, I think that would be an interesting follow-up, yeah.
Yeah. The other thing about that peak is he gets to one peak, but he's climbed the top of the mountain, but he's only got his T-shirt and his shorts on. He's at the top of a mountain. Can't stay there.
No.
Can't stay there. So that's another situation where I think I had this at Virgin a little bit, is that I'd got a method for getting clients and a method for keeping clients, but I didn't have a method for looking after myself as well as I should, for looking after that relationship. So I'd got to that peak, but I just couldn't stay there. And that's kind of why I went on the journey of, I'm going to try university and go to Pure Gym and because I couldn't stay at the peak that I'd found at Virgin.
Yeah, mate, that's important as well, because you look at that and you think, I've conquered this peak. Well, is that the peak, the be-all and end-all? Is there other areas? Is there other peaks? Is there other cheeses that you want to conquer? And you take a step back from it. And I think a lot of people right now are focusing on what's been taken away almost, rather than what's been given to them. We have, how many people in your life have you ever come across, clients, you don't have to name any of them, but have said, I've never had time to do that. I don't have time for that. Now, all you've got is time. Correct. Crack on. Enjoy it. So I just think, there's a lot people can look at and think, you know what, take a step back, look at this as for what it actually is. Maybe it might be in 10 years' time and we'll look back and think, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't so. But again, it depends what character you are from the book.
Nice. I think that's a good note to finish on.
Me too, man.
Let's find another book for us both to have a little read on, and we'll get you back on in a few weeks.
Happy days.
Great days. Very briefly, what's your weekend story?
My weekend, I am up tomorrow. Got up 6 a.m. anyway every day. I am out for a 5K first thing.
Very good.
Yeah. Reason being,
That's new for you. You never used to be a runner.
Mate, it's so coincidental. I didn't used to be a runner because I used to convince myself running's not for me. I don't like it. No, that's just me because protecting myself because I wasn't very good at it. So how am I going to get better at it? By doing it.
Nice. You take the dog?
No, I won't. I'll take him for a walk first thing and I'll be running after him. I can't run with him, mate. It's an absolute nightmare. He'll be thinking it's a game. He'll be biting at the ankles and jumping all over.
Sounds a great game. And can you just let everyone know where we can find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram at Oliver Tennant, TENNANT _ on Instagram. Otherwise, my website is www.oliver-tennant.com.
Amazing. Right. Thank you very much for coming on. Much appreciated. Can I just say to everyone who's listened and shared and click like wherever they've found this podcast, thank you. It's much appreciated. Especially the people on there who are sharing it everywhere. I'll get this out on Friday, so hopefully you listen to it today. So have a great weekend. If you need anything, just drop me a message and we can discuss it further on the pod. Thank you very much. We are out.